who is a political and business strategist for the Republican Party, joining us live from the US state of Virginia. Now we also have Dr. C. Raja Mohan joining us from Singapore. He's, of course, one of India's foremost analysts on foreign policy and strategy. Thank you very much to both of you.
And the person who really worked on the world this week many years ago. Remember that?
That's the most important thing.
Most important. Everything else is irrelevant. Yeah.
Well, Puneet Alhuwalia, you seem to be quite, you seem to be smiling. Are the Republicans in a happy place at the moment, or is it still too close to call?
I think it was the love fest for President Trump that I was hearing that made me smile. Yes, we are optimistic and we feel strong. I think we see the path to victory, unlike what Kamala Harris is trying to achieve, or the Vice President is trying to achieve. It's looking tougher. And I believe President Trump was a tenacious campaigner. He was voting on issues. And I think people could see the difference under his leadership and Biden's leadership. And of course, the anointed candidate for the Democratic Party, which was Kamala Harris, without any votes, she was anointed. So I believe people can see the difference and feel the pain. And that's the reason they wanted to vote for someone they felt would be better for the country. And we've seen the Democratic policies miserably failed under President Biden. Look at the economy, look at the inflation, the immigration crisis that we have. I was hearing about the issue, gender issue to us is defining that issue in schools. That has mattered to a lot of Asian Americans, a lot of Muslim Americans. That's the reason you've seen in Loudoun County or in Michigan, the Arab American vote not only moving towards the Republicans, but also kind of defranchised with the Democratic rhetoric. So a lot of issues that have come into play in this campaign.
How do you see the fact that a lot of Mr. Trump's, I don't know how to put this, utterances, whether it's on women, on minorities, immigrants, I mean, to be frank, it has been called out as misogynist, racist, often hateful. He has even been criminally charged. And how come that hasn't played and weighed on the minds of Americans, if I may ask?
Well, first thing is it's the pocketbook that matters to the Americans. That's one thing. They know how he is. They're tone deaf to his comments. But more importantly, there was a lot of negativity that came from the biased media, especially on the left side. And also starting from Biden, let's make him a target, calling him a face fascist and a racist. And if you see, the Democratic Party has now become the party of the elitists. Look at the Oprah Winfreys of the world and Ricky Martin and everyone coming out and promoting for Kamala Harris. But whereas the hard-working labor, even the unions kind of broke away from Kamala Harris in Michigan. So there is a big shift in the blue wall. It's a big shift in the American society. And it's just not the illiterate or the not going college, hardworking Americans, to be precise, hardworking middle Americans who are really excited about President Trump. But there are a lot of educated Indian Americans, a lot of educated Hispanics, a lot of Black Americans who are voting. And that's what we're seeing in Wisconsin, this shift. So I think when you put a box around a candidate, there are all these people who are not really sophisticated voters. I think we Americans are very sophisticated. We know better of what's going on and what's impacting our pocketbook.
Well, I think you kind of summed it up well when you said it's the pocketbook that matters, and obviously everything else perhaps doesn't. And I have to say, a lot of the world is watching this with a certain degree of bewilderment. Dr. Raja Mohan, you're sitting there in Singapore. Would you agree with Mr. Alhuwalia there that ultimately it was the economy stupid?
Yeah, I think economy, especially inflation, was a central issue on which Mr. Trump campaigned, that the prices of essential commodities that average Americans buy from the supermarket has dramatically gone up. I think inflation was a consequence of the massive spending by the Biden administration, both on industrial policy and a range of other initiatives. So I think inflation was certainly a big issue which touched the pocketbook of the ordinary people. But I think there is a deeper one, which I agree with Mr. Alhuwalia. The resentment against elites who have sought to impose certain set of cultural values the woke ideology, which kind of was sought to be legitimized under Biden administration, that I think affects a lot of people. If you're a parent and you go to school and you're told boys will participate in girls' games, or that they have to use the same bathrooms, this level of imposition of a particular ideology, I think, has woken up. I think a lot of people. I think they feel really upset with the elites and the attempt by liberals to impose their ideology on the rest of the society. I just want to add one thing. I think there is a problem in India where we look at these elections. Our ideas of Trump are unfortunately filtered by the liberal media. That when we say Trump, is a dictator, he was charged. If you ask the Republicans, they'll tell you that it was actually Trump was being framed. That actually the New York courts, the Democratic administration went out of the way to fix Trump. So I don't think we should take what is said in the liberal media, especially the New York Times and the Washington Post and the CNN, as a truth. And I think they don't reflect a large part of the opinion within the United States. And I think we need to see America for what it is and their internal debates, rather than making judgments on the basis of how we filter our perceptions of what's happening. Because easy to call Trump a dictator, he's going to lock up his opponents. But that's exactly what the Democrats have did to Trump.
But
and
so
it's amazing
he behaved
that
on January 6th. I mean, it's his own words, his own actions. He refused to accept the results of the last election.
Wasn't that shocking, not accepting the results?
Exactly.
I mean, it really questioned the whole of
things, even the Ukraine case, where he's
and
threatened to withhold
rape,
funding unless
and rape and molestation and all that. I don't think it's a Democrat.
You have his own
Let me just bring
words.
in.
So I don't think, Raj, it's just a question of the liberal media. It's a question of what
It's the
Mr.
courts
Trump
also that have
himself
decided,
says and
Okay,
does.
let